Very welcome back to the show. Now, how do you fancy dipping your toe into the world of flotation therapy? Well, my next guest opened the first standalone float centre in Ireland in 2016, and his business has gone from strength to strength since. But what actually is flotation therapy? Pat, can you please tell us what it is? Because there's many misconceptions. I was talking to the lads in the office earlier on, and they had so many questions. What is it and where did it come from?
Yeah, well, there's many ways of speaking about it, but it's technically known as reduced environmental stimulation therapy.
Yeah.
So it's a specifically designed environment to block out all external stimuli. So basically, the flotation tank has 10 inches of water and 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts. So much
1,000
salt.
pounds? Is it like floating in the Dead Sea or something?
Yeah, it's like 4 times more buoyant than the Dead Sea.
Wow. So you can't drown in it anyway, that's good.
No, you just float on top of the water.
Yeah.
And the water and solution is heated and maintained at human skin temperature, so slightly cooler than a bath. So your sense of body position and your sense of tactile sensation and touch is highly reduced. And then it's soundproofed and light-proofed. So sight, sound and touch are all highly reduced, which induces this deep relaxation.
So basically, you're going in to this pod, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah.
And you've a light on for the start of it, don't you?
Yeah, the light goes off after 5 minutes, but you have the option of leaving it on.
So you're kind of floating and you're completely, I suppose, like a little atom floating out in space. Is that what it's supposed to induce complete?
Yeah, it's not like it's like you're floating in space or like floating on a cloud or something like that. And it's just your heartbeat and your breath, so you lose the sensation of where your body starts and ends. And
wow.
It's really relaxing.
What are the main benefits of it? Because you came through this therapy through personal experience. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a long road that got me to it eventually, but in 2005 I came down with an autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome, a neurological disorder. And I was treated for that in the Prince of Wales Hospital in Sydney in Australia. And then when I came back to Ireland, my health deteriorated and I had developed skin conditions and certain other conditions, and I wasn't getting any cure for it. So then I was introduced to acupuncture, and I got incredible relief and just improvements in stress, and I recovered from certain skin conditions. So I realised then that it helped bring me out of a state of chronic stress and elicit the relaxation response. So then skipping on to 2015, I read about flotation therapy. And the first article I read, the doctors mentioned that it can elicit the relaxation response. So I immediately recognised the concept and valued it.
Yeah. So we all know that whatever disease, whatever condition you have, it's exacerbated by stress. Stress is the biggest killer in this country, without a shadow of doubt. So basically, by reducing the stress in your body and the levels of cortisol and all that sort of stuff, your body can heal itself that little bit better. Is that kind of what this promotes?
Exactly, that when your body's devoid of chronic stress, it has the ability to recover and heal itself at its optimum. So,
can you remember the first time you went into a flotation tank?
Yes.
What's the actual proper name for
flotation tank? Or flotation therapy.
Yeah.
So after I read about it, I flew over to England to try it out. So I spent a few weeks there and tried it 3 times and loved it. I was hooked immediately. And the first float felt about 20 minutes. Your sense of time is different. And then I came back to Ireland and I was on the phone to a friend of mine, Paddy Kearns, a lifelong friend who lives in Perth in Australia. And I told him I wanted to get a business going with a flotation tank. And then he told me that he'd been using it for a year, that he goes twice a month in Perth. And he works 60 plus hours a week, and he just found it incredible. So Paddy said to me, look, if you're going for it, I'd like to go into business as well. So we got the wheels in motion, and then we got the business open in November 2016.
And you're about to open another one as well, aren't you?
Yeah, so we're open 3 years in Naas, and then we're opening in Paddy Houlihan's gym in Tala next month. And then we're at the moment in talks with trying to get a centre open in the city centre, hopefully early next year.
Wow, God, it's really taken off now. What about the concerns that some people have? How hygienic is it? What about if you're claustrophobic? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, so...
Because are you in the nip in there? Is it like going back into the womb for want of a better phrase?
It's often referred to similar like that in psychological terms. But the first thing anyone ever says is, or concern is about claustrophobia.
Yeah.
and the tank is like 8'6" long and 4.5 foot wide. So it's like being in a car, essentially. And you have the options of leaving the lights on or the doors fully open or semi-open.
Yeah.
So lots of time people come with that concern and they never have it once they experience it. They end up doing the full experience. And I think I've had like one person in 3 years say it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
And that's all. Most people, once they do it, they're fine. And once they know they're in control, they're absolutely fine.
And does it help with physical as well as mental issues?
Yeah, so with the kind of mimicking zero gravity environment, there's an increase in blood circulation because there's no pressure on your joints and your spine strengthens or lengthens. And you absorb all the minerals from the Epsom salts, so magnesium.
Like magnesium, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which is very important,
the studies show there's a really high reduction in muscle tension. And then because you're calming the mind and calming stress, it's been shown to be really good with sufferers with fibromyalgia. So I get loads
chronic
of people.
pain, wow.
Yeah, which they find it very difficult for treatments that actually work. So, and then we get lots of people using it for sports recovery and stuff like that.
So you're in there for an hour, is that the normal treatment?
Yeah, when people get into it, they can do 90-minute or 2-hour floats, but the sessions are 1 hour long, yeah. There's 10 minutes music at the start and then there's 5 minutes music at the end just to ease your way back in.
Is it people from all walks of life doing this? Are people? I've got visions of some fellas being marched in by their girlfriends because they're too stressed at work or something like that. To be quiet. Does that happen a bit?
Yeah, that happens a bit, but it's such a broad spectrum. We get everyone from 17-year-old young guys to 75-year-old women. And people for meditation, sports recovery, pain, for stress, depression. So it's really a very broad spectrum.
And I'm fascinated by it because, I find it very difficult to switch off. What if you're lying there for the whole hour waiting every second, tick, tick, tick?
Can you bring your book in?
No, Sonia, you can't. But does anyone ever go, oh my God, it seemed longer, or does everyone go, wow, this is really quick? The whole sensory deprivation thing I find fascinating.
Yeah, well, most people say, lots of people come in and say, I can't switch off and my mind races. But everyone's kind of similar with that. And the neuropsychologist who is the lead researcher, Dr. Justin Feinstein, what he loves about it is that it's a practice that can introduce people to meditation who usually can't, who find it difficult to meditate. So it can really get you into that state, and it allows you to not be distracted by your body and to really switch off. So, sometimes you can go in with an intention and problem solve and have a good mull over things because there's no distraction. So you can use it for different reasons once you get familiar with the environment.
And how often do people, your repeat customers, how often do they tend to pop back to you?
It's different with different people. So I get a lot of sports people that will use it twice a month. And then generally what I say to people is get familiar with the environment. So do it 3 times close together, like in about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you know it best. So people who are into it can do it once a month, twice a month. And I have some people coming once every week.
Yeah, they're a bit addicted.
Yeah.
But do you feel rested after it, or do you feel spaced after it? Sometimes I think I'd probably waddle off going, woo, because that kind of...
It's different. My first time I felt energised and I was buzzing after it.
Yeah.
And then my second time I felt like I swam 40 lengths of a pool. I was exhausted. And so it can be different depending on what's going on with you building up to it.
Yeah, some people find it quite emotional, don't they?
They can do. Like if you have an extremely hectic and busy lifestyle and then you just stop and you're just forced to reflect, it can bring up, I suppose, certain
things that you might have been suppressing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not that sort of stuff. But yeah.
No, I've done it a couple of times
Have
myself.
you?
Have you?
Yeah. Now, I think that the ones that I did had it was on water. It was more like a water
relaxation. Yeah, it probably wasn't sensory reduction, but it was probably just like a spa for relaxation. So
I've done a waterbed.
It was meant to be around the sensory reduction. But
were you enclosed?
Yeah.
All right.
And I remember just sort of purple lights around the edge of it or whatever. But I remember both times, the first sort of 5 minutes was like, oh my God, can I not just get the hour done and be relaxed already?
Yeah.
Can we do this relaxing thing quickly? Come on, let's move on. But after the 10 minutes then, you really do find it flies. Like once you get over the first few minutes.
And were you asleep?
The rest
were you
of it,
meditating or?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's a good sign.
You
of
know
a
where
good
you're
flow.
so deep,
Really?
relaxed.
Well,
Yeah.
the studies have shown that what it can induce is similar to like the second and third phases of sleep, so that your theta brainwaves, so that your brain starts going into these states of deep meditation after about 20 minutes, just because of the environment. So what people will practice meditation for years to achieve, your brain starts producing after about a half an hour.
Yeah. Is it expensive to do?
It's €60 for one session, but we have package deals and membership that bring the price down.
Yeah.
And you're there for an hour and a half. So you shower before in a private room and you shower afterwards. And you're an hour in the tank.
Yeah.
So.
And magnesium, the Epsom salts, I know it's brilliant for sleep and everything like that.
Yeah,
Because in Ireland we don't get enough of it anyway. We don't get enough
Exactly.
of that.
Your body starts absorbing that after about 20 minutes
Great
as well.
to detoxify. Well, I'm actually, I feel quite
Have to
slow
try,
myself
Elaine,
now. I've been nearly afraid. But listen, thank you so much. If people want to get in touch with you to book, or how do they do so?
Yeah, so it's Slí Beatha Float House. It's Float House Ireland on Instagram.
Yeah.
And floathouse.ie is our website.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us and
Thanks for the
explaining that to us
invitation.
today. Now, time for a quick break. But when we come back, we look at the brilliant way Gavin James dealt with these bullies. See you for that in the reel.